I'd like to introduce Senator John Kerry.
Nikki, thank you very, very much. Is there any reason to use that mic? I don't think it works, does it? At any rate, excuse me, maybe that's a reason to use the mic. I'm just going to stand up here and have a chance to talk to you. First of all, thank you, Nikki, for a very generous introduction, but more importantly, thank you for the work that you're doing in Washington with all of us to try and straighten out a very big mess. And Nikki is a tremendous addition to what I think is one of the most powerful delegations in the entire Congress. There is a virtue to sending some folks back there over a period of time, folks. And it is now that Massachusetts is better positioned than almost any other state in the country. With Jim McGovern, who could become the chairman of the Rules Committee, Richie Neal, who's very, very high up on the Ways and Means Committee, and John Olver on the Appropriations Committee, and so you go. Right now, that's very important to us in Massachusetts because the Southwest has gained in population and therefore in representation. And to some degree, and Nikki will confirm this, there's a kind of elbows jealousy a little bit about how successful we've been over the last century or more in directing resources to the Northeast and to our communities. We don't want to get into that kind of division in the long haul. We're one nation. We have one nation interest. But inevitably, there's a parochialness that enters into some of those struggles. And so Nikki is well positioned, as well as other members, to really help fight for you and to protect our interests. I want to thank Steve Panagiotakos for being here also, and Kevin Murphy and Mary Lynch and Jim Milinazzo, the mayor. Grateful to all of you for coming out and for the partnership that we have as we work in these efforts. There's no way we can solve the problems that we have without a local, state, and federal partnership. And ultimately, a better relationship and a better understanding with you, the taxpayers, the voters, our citizens. Now, let me talk about that for a minute. Yesterday, the president was in Baltimore. And he had a good session, I think, with the Republican House members. And I think there should be more of that. I've often wanted to just kind of walk into the Republican Senate caucus and say, hey guys, you know, let's stop for a minute and talk about what we're really trying to get done here. Rather than get caught up in slogans and party tactics. And what the president said the other night, this thing that has happened in America called the perpetual campaign. If all you do is campaign and power, you lose. And that is what has been happening, I regret to say. You know, we get caught up in a situation where the Republican strategy is to say, hey, let's stop everything. And if we stop everything, then citizens are going to get very mad. And where are they going to direct that anger? They're going to direct that anger at the people in power. Now you sort of scratch your head and say, is that for real? Let me tell you something, folks. It's exactly what the strategy was in 1994. I was there when Bob Dole and the Republicans just shut down George Mitchell and our efforts to get things done with Bill Clinton. Remember health care? We didn't get it. If we passed the compromise bill that existed then, that I was part of, working with Bob Dole and Bill Bradley and a bunch of people, by 2003, we'd have been at 97% coverage in America. But we didn't get it. One of the reasons we didn't get it was arrogance on the part of the Clinton administration that thought that they were going to get the whole enchilada, therefore don't compromise. They were just going to get it. In the end, we got nothing. So we have to be smart about where we find ourselves now in this great country of ours. We are on the rebound. I know it doesn't feel that way to all of you, but we are on the turnaround here. And the key is to try to sustain this. You pick up the Boston Globe today, if you have, you'll see saying that the state of Massachusetts was slightly below the rest of the nation. But then you read into the story, and they actually contradict themselves. And they say, if you look at the real figures and go underneath, because they didn't consider, in the University of Massachusetts that put out the analysis, didn't take into account the productivity increases that we get. So we produce more with less people working. And they didn't take that into account, and therefore it puts us a notch below the rest of the country. But in actuality, we are right with the rest of the country, turning the corner here. Less people losing their jobs. That may sound a little weird to you, but way down.